This is AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. First interview I've done in person since this lockdown started. At your new place, Tommy.
Yeah.
New beginning for yourself?
Yeah, new beginning. As everyone knows, in the recent months, we've had a lot of tragedy go on. We got a dog. I'm not going to delve too much into that, but obviously, things didn't work out. And it passed away. I just felt in the old apartment, there was good memories, but some bad memories there as well. And we just thought, getting out there, having a fresh start, it'd do the both of us good.
Of course, it's a tough time to talk about potential dates, etc.
Yeah.
All you fighters in the same situation. But I will ask, has Frank Warren reached out to you about a potential date, Tommy?
No, not heard anything at the minute. Just training every day, it's hard. Any fighter will tell you it's hard training with no date in your mind. So it's like I'm doing all this training. I'm living like I'm in camp, but really for no date. So I'm just waiting, on a date now. I'm fit and ready to go. But I think that's the aim, for every fighter there, just to keep ready, keep in shape. So when that date does come, we're ready to go.
Someone who hasn't found it hard to train has been your brother, none other than Tyson Fury. Acting like a Trojan, he is. Every morning doing the workouts, and not only for himself in Paris, but kind of the whole world, Tommy. Inspiring stuff, to be honest. Yeah,
he's gone past that stage now of just being, a world champion, world heavyweight champion. He's not only that, he's an inspiration for everybody, in a lot of different departments. So getting up, doing these live workouts, going through all this, all the training. I think he's training like 4 or 5 times a day now. It's just inspiring for everyone, uplifting because, I suspect everyone's quite down. People have lost their jobs, everyone's, stuck in their homes. It is a down time, but, Tyson's always there on Instagram making light of things, and that's how it should be at the end of the day. Someone has to do it, and that's Tyson, and everybody takes to him. And I think that's why he does it, because he gets the appreciation of the fans.
I suppose you haven't been working as hard, or have you?
No, not as hard as that, no. Not 4 times a day. I think the max is 3 at the minute, 2 solid ones and a little bit of a skipping session. But at the end of the day, you just got to train, haven't you, at the end of the day? It's something that I've always done, even when I wasn't in boxing. I was always, lifting weights. I was always sprinting, doing athletics, whatever it was. I was always doing something. So training's in my mind anyway. And when you've trained from such a young age every single day, and enjoy training. It's not as if, I'm training because I might have a fight coming up. I'm training just because I like to train. And I think that's a big thing. If you don't just train because you think you might have a fight coming up, train because you want to train. And also in these circumstances, in lockdown, training relieves a lot of stress. As everybody knows, when you train, you release a factor in your brain. And that's, no one can tell you otherwise. That is what happens. So training, it can resolve a lot of things.
So Tommy, I just want to delve into the early Tommy Fury, because we know you from inside the boxing ring. Obviously, it's a relatively early start for yourself in your career. We know you from Tyson Fury fight weeks when you were around. We know you from Love Island. We know that side of Tommy Fury. But actually, funny enough, IFL filmed you when you was a teenager.
Yeah.
Coogan used to visit you up here in Manchester. I just want to delve into your childhood. What was it like growing up, firstly as a traveller, because obviously your dad is John Fury. Am I right in saying your mum isn't a traveller though? Yeah,
my mum's not a traveller, no. My dad is. At the end of the day, what's in you is in you, and I'm proud of what I am. I'm never going to deny it to anybody, But growing up, it was good. I had the best childhood a guy could ever have. I was never spoilt because, my mother and my father don't believe in, spoiling kids. You need to raise them with manners. At the end of the day, everybody who knows me or speaks to me knows that I have respect for every single person. If you respect me, I respect you. But growing up, it was sort of like, I was seeing Tyson, fighting on Channel 4 and stuff like that, my TV4, and I was just watching it. I always used to see my dad go out for runs and stuff like that. But I never really knew at that young age, what he was doing. But then one night I just heard him in the shed on the on the bag in the garage, grunting, punching it. So I snuck out and I went in there and I seen him hitting the bag. And then from then on, really, I started going on runs with him, started training with him, and it was good. It was everything that I wanted because I was always an active kid. I was playing rugby, so from a young age, I was playing rugby from like 8 to 7 to about 14. I was doing wrestling. I remember doing wrestling, Olympic wrestling. weightlifting. I was heavy into my weights, everything really. And growing up, it was just sort of school, and that wasn't really an ambition of mine. I never really wanted to go. Never had any, mindset of achieving in school or academics and nothing like that, because I feel like from a young age you find out who you are, and I never was academic. It really wasn't my thing, and I did give it a go, but it just wasn't. So I just thought to myself, do you know what? Instead of sitting in here day after day, year after year, listening to a history teacher preach about what happened in World War II, I could be out here, earning my stripes, training as hard as I can, getting used to what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I knew that from the age of 6, 7, that I wanted to do it and become a world champion. So then when I got to about 14, I thought to myself, do you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'd stopped going to school, and I went to the gym every single day. And I know a lot of people say don't put all your eggs in one basket, but I feel like, and my mindset is, if you don't put all your eggs in one basket and you have something on the sidelines, then you're also thinking about that. Whereas with me, it was, I have no sideline, I have nothing else, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing that I want to do other than box, and if it goes wrong, well, we'll think about that then. And then that's what led me, throughout my younger years. All the time, I was just training. Other kids were, having money to get insured on cars, driving around, getting money from the jobs that they were doing, but I wasn't getting paid. I was an amateur, and I only had 12 amateur fights. So back then, I was training for nothing. I was earning no money, but I thought, you know what, it's all right, because in the future, it will all come good somewhere down the line. And that was it really, just kept on training, and then started training with Uncle Peter, and stuff like that. I was with Tyson, Huey, training in Bolton every day. Warrington we started off in, it was all good stuff. We moved around a little bit, but at the end of the day, I was sparring with big heavyweights, 6'5", 6'6", at about 16, 17 years old, and I must have been about 11 stone at the time, and I used to think and sit to myself, it's hard work, because imagine going in the gym every single day, against these big guys and literally getting pounded, and I mean hit hard as well. Everyone thinks I'm, lover boy off Love Island, and you're just getting everything because of your last name, because of Tyson, because you went on the show. That's not the case at all. But long before where we're at right now, the work was starting, and I know that whatever comes my way in life, I truly deserve, because no one will ever know, only who was there or what I went through at that time to get what I've got right now. And that's it at the end of the day, hard work and dedication and sacrifice.
It's interesting, that comment you made there about the perception people have of you now, that your last name's Fury, and you've been on national telly, one of the biggest programmes there is on Love Island, and that's why you're kind of where you are in life. And I suppose there's an element to that, Tommy.
Oh yeah, of course.
But what you were saying about being 15, 16-year-old, and you're a light heavyweight now, sparring heavyweights back then, big guys, and taking beatings or whatever, of people like Tyson. And what other heavyweights were you sparring?
I was sparring Tom Aspinall. He's a UFC fighter now, just been signed to the UFC, but he was a professional boxer. I think he had a couple of fights in boxing. Really good. Anybody will tell you. Tyson will tell you that himself. Tom Aspinall, great heavyweight, fast hands. Conscian, I was sparring him. He was training with Peter for a while. He was like something silly, like 16 times Irish champion, something like that. All these great guys. I was sparring Liam Conroy at the age of 16 or something like that. But I always knew, because I was more than holding my own with these guys, I knew if I could hold my own with these guys here, and I'm not experienced, I've just been hitting the pads and sparring whoever, that, I must have something there. And I never said no. Every time, Monday, Wednesday and Friday came the sparring days, I said, let's go, well up for it. And I could see myself getting better and better. And, started sparring these guys at like 16. And by the time I turned like 18, I was, some days, if not, having a lot better at the spars. You know what I mean? I was doing really well. And that's just a profit of hard work and dedication, Everyone was telling me, you're living in a dreamland, not everybody can do this. And I always used to say, tell that to John Cena, tell that to The Rock and all that, who had these big ambitions, because everyone thought, listen, I was going on speaking that, I want to be a world champion, I want to do this, I want to do this. Everyone's saying, you're crazy, you've got no money, You've got no aspirations. You're not getting paid for these fights. You've got no sponsor. I was like, don't worry about it. It's my life. You know, if I mess it up, I mess it up. It's down to me at the end of the day. But I was so adamant on that. My mother and father, you know, just let me crack on. My dad kept on taking me to the gym every day. You know, and he's seen what his son was, you know, going through, and he still had that drive and determination to keep going. And I feel like that's what makes me as a person. You know, a lot of these other people that has gone on Love Island, I'm not just some person who was working a job and then applied for Love Island and got lucky. I never even applied for the show. The show come to me. And at the end of the day, I am where I am through hard work, and everything I've done in my life has been hard work, whether it had been reality TV, you know, or boxing. You know, I don't even clash reality TV. I did it for what, 2 months? I was on the show for 2 months, and then the rest of it's just like backlogs, events, appearances. That's just that. But I'm a fighter at the end of the day, and I said that way back in my first interview. You know, I was born a fighter. I came out, and as soon as I was always ready to do it. You know, there's no other way I can explain it. I was just there, and I still am to this day. And anyone who thinks that, you know, I've lost my hunger or anything like that, you know, because I've got a few followers on Instagram, which means nothing at the end of the day. Because I'm not one of these material persons. Don't get me wrong. I like the good stuffs in life. You know, who doesn't? But at the end of the day, you've got to work hard for that, and I know that. I'm sitting on my backside now, just thinking, oh yeah, I've got Instagram. I can do a few posts on there and get me food. No. As far as I am concerned, you can take everything I've got away from me, you can strip it all down and just leave me with a gym bag and a pair of boxing gloves, and I will still make the same accomplishments that I've made because I'm driven and I work hard.
This is part of the reason why I come down today, because, you know, for the most part, our interviews with you have been on your fight weeks or Tyson fight weeks, and they've been rushed. There's 1,000 other people want to talk to you, and it's kind of like break the fight down for me, etc. We haven't really heard from the real Tommy Fury since Love Island. I mentioned you did interviews with us earlier when you was a teenager, but obviously you've grown into a man now, and it's refreshing to hear what you've just said, in a sense that even if other people don't recognise it, you know deep inside why you're here at the moment. Yeah,
for sure. You can even ask Molly over there. You know, it's been the same since day one. All these articles come out about us now. You know, everything gets said about us now, but this is me speaking 100% honesty right now. I don't care what anybody on this planet other than my family, my friends, and God thinks about me. And that's me speaking truthfully. You know, I don't care what anybody says. You can call me whatever you want. You can slate me. You can do whatever you want. I'm not interested. As long as I know what I'm doing in my own life and I'm happy, I don't care. You know, because why am I going to listen to other people's opinions that has nothing to do with my life? So it never adds up to me, you know, and it will never will. So I know what I've got to do in this life, and my own goals now is to be successful. You know, I'm doing okay now. I intend to keep this going. But apart from all this, my goal has never changed. You know, ever since I come into boxing, is to be a world champion. And everyone says, oh yeah, the Tyson's brother, he's talking this, he's talking that. But I'll tell you now, I will be a world champion. 100,000,000%, 1,000% I will be a world champion. And when that day occurs, I'm going to look back and I'm going to say, I told everybody, because everyone thinks that, you know, I've had 12 amateur fights, I'm a bit rusty. What's for you won't pass you by, as my dad always says, and I'm a big believer in that. And every single test I've come up against in boxing, whether it be in training, whether it be in sparring, whatever it may be, I've never jacked once. I've never said, oh no, I've had enough. I've never not turned up for a session. I'm always there, and I work the hardest that I ever work. You know, and that's what's needed at the end of the day. That is what is needed, you know, to be successful. But all this I've got around me now, it just makes me more motivated to keep going. At the end of the day, that's how it's got to be.
People might have a lot to say about, you know, what you just said, that you will become a world champion. But if you look back 10 years when Tyson was being interviewed on this channel, and you know, well known, but not hugely known, let's say, and he used to get slated. And look where he is now. So you've got to have that self-belief. Otherwise, what's the point of being in sport, and especially the fight game? Yeah,
for sure. At the end of the day, there's nothing bigger than self-belief in a fighter, because, you know, you've got your team believes in you, but in that ring, there's only you fighting. Your team may believe in you, but if you don't have that self-belief, you ain't never going to win. You ain't never going to go anywhere because you don't believe in yourself. There's a lot of people that sit in the position I'm in today, and say, oh, I'm going to be a world champion, I'm going to unify the division, this and that, this and that. But they can say it, but they don't believe it. But me, I'm sitting here and I believe it in my whole heart of hearts. I honestly believe that. You know, I'm not bullshitting nobody. I don't talk any bullshit. I'm straight down the line as it gets. So to me, in my head, I know that one day that day is going to come, and I'm going to work my heart out to make sure it does come. And that's it. But let's just say on the off chance that it doesn't happen. Let's just say for some reason why it didn't happen. I know that sitting back in my rocking chair at 80 years old or 70 or 50, what age I may get to, because, you know, nobody knows, you know, if tomorrow's promised or not. I know that I'll have given it everything, and I couldn't have done any more. And that's enough for me. As long as I know I've sat there and give it everything, then I'm fine with that. You know, it just wasn't meant to be. But I know in my own heart and my own head that it is coming, and the day is coming, because I worked too hard. I've been working too hard for too long. I've took the knocks, I've took the bruises, and I will see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I think that's a spot-on mentality to have. What I will say, though, about the whole Love Island thing and, you know, You Are a Fury, is you've done the hard part, where 90% of professional boxers could have all the talent in the world, but if they're not known, then promoters won't want them. So you've built, like, the casual audience, if you like. You get ridiculous viewing figures for someone who's a professional novice at the moment.
Sure.
So you've done the hard part. I think now, for you, I think it's fair to say that people who watch this channel and boxing fans, it's them, rather, that you might have to convince in the ring now, rather than the casual audience who watch you. And we want to see you in more competitive fights, hopefully next year. Do you think that will be the case, Tommy?
Oh, for sure, yeah. At the end of the day, you know, everybody's, you know, see me on Love Island doing my thing there, and that's fine. You know, that's fine. I didn't really care. Ever since going in Love Island, I never cared what had happened. I couldn't care whether I went out last, first, second, fourth, or whatever. I wasn't interested, because I knew, even if I go out now, I'm still going to go back to the gym. I'm still going to do the same thing that I was doing beforehand. And I came second. What am I doing now? I'm still doing the same thing that I was before. So it really wouldn't make a difference. And all this stuff, it doesn't change me. I could go back to living in a boiler room, you know, because that's what I was living in before Love. I was in a boiler room, but still training hard with that vision. I wasn't down moping after myself. I was training hard. At the end of the day, yeah, I've got all these, you know, all this audience now. I think on my last fight in December, that got something like 2.9 million views. You know, that's heavy views for a guy who's had 3 million fights. Three fights, yeah, imagine. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But that don't get to my head. I know, you know, in my own heart, so I don't have to prove anything to nobody. You know, I don't need to prove myself to the boxing audience. My actions are gonna do the talking for me. At the end of the day, when I get in these fights, because there's no rush. I'm 21 years of age. You know, just turning May. There's no rush at all. I'm gonna, you know, keep having these learning fights. I'm gonna earn my craft. Perfecting everything, and when the time is right, I'll step up. I know when the time is right, and I do step up, I'll look class in the fights, because it's all about time in boxing. You know, some people, you know, they have a diamond and they throw it in straight away. You know, you can't do that. You've got to be realistic with yourself. You've got to take the right fights at the right time. You've got to be managed correctly, promoted right, and that's it. At the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of people who's been that. You know, Deontay Wilder's a perfect explanation of that. You know. He's had all these fights, you know, even before he stepped up into the limelight, he was like 35-0 with 34 knockouts. But the people that he was with did the right job. They promoted him. They polished the diamond. They got him into that, oh, you know, look at him, he's here. And overnight we heard about him. You know, that's the right thing to do. At the end of the day, I've got a good team around me. I've got my dad training me, you know, with Frank and BT, Mick, my manager, you know, Will, everybody. They're there for me, and they're looking out for my best intentions, and I know that I won't be in any fights that are going to be too much for me. But when the time is right, and I've had my learning fights and I'm ready to step up, I will be stepping up, and I won't be coming down. It'll just go further and further and further.
Just back to your childhood quickly. Obviously, you and Tyson are about 10 years apart. Am I right in saying that? What was your early memories of him? And also, moving on from that, being in Dusseldorf for one of the best nights ever. Those experiences, just being around them sort of fight weeks, the ones you've done in Vegas, it's got to put you in good stead as well, moving forward for yourself. But what was your first early memories around Tyson? It was, you know, not anything but training, you know, just training and in fighting. And when I seen him, because I was only young at the time when he was fighting on ITV4, you know, I was very young. I seen him make his debut, you know, his fights after that. You know, it was just instantly something that I wanted to do. And being
around Tyson in fight weeks, you know, for massive fights like the Klitschko fight. You know, that's just, when I think back to that, I still think it's crazy. You know, that I was there, I was ringside, I watched everything that was going on, fight week and fight night, post press conferences. It was all great. At the end of the day, I might not have said anything back then because I wasn't one of these jumped up kids, you know, shouting his mouth or, you know, doing so. I didn't say nothing. You watched my interviews back then. I wasn't really saying anything, but I was watching. You know, I was observing. You know, everything. I might have been in the corner there in a little team tracksuit, just hidden in the corner, but I was watching everything because I knew I was watching around me. I thought, you know what? When my time comes, I'm gonna have to do all this. I'm gonna have to do the media side, the press conferences side. And it's put me in good stead because I listened to all the words that the fighters said, you know, and it just gives me the right knowledge and, you know, go about my business properly. And mixing in company like, you know, world level, it does teach you from a young age how to handle your business properly, you know, nice and professional. And that's it at the end of the day. It's put me in good stead because all this experience that I've got being around there, being in the camps, you know, doing the sparring, it's put me in good stead because I know that whatever task I'm faced with, I'll be ready for it.
Is there extra pressure, though, being a Fury?
Nah, because I said it from day one as well. You know, everyone with the last name Fury are their own men. You know, Tyson's Tyson, Yui's Yui, and Tommy's Tommy. It's a famous line from me that I've said, I think, in my first interview that. And I still stick by that. No matter what happens, I'm me. And I'm not trying to be Tyson. I'm not trying to be Yui. I'm not trying to be anybody. They've done marvellous things for themselves, and they should be very proud of that, which they are. But me, I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to try the best that I can do. You know, every time I get into the ring, I'm not like, oh, I've got to dance around on the back foot. I've got to let off, you know, mad combinations like the rest of them do because it's just not, you know, it's not me. I've got my own style. I'm trying to work towards being me. You know, I'm going to find myself in boxing. At the end of the day, as long as I'm happy with where I'm at, you know, I don't care. You know, I'm me. And, you know, that's what people's got to realise, you know, who just sees me as Tyson's brother, you know, just try and make it. I'm me. I don't get any special favours because, you know, of my last name. You know, I'm like any other fighter out there, just trying to make a path for themselves, trying to do the best that they can. You know, I'm in this boxing game. I'm training hard, just doing the best for myself to give me the best life that I can. And for when I have children, give my children the best life that they can. That's all I'm doing. I'm sure everybody's dreams are the same.
All right, just picking this back up with some people probably think we're cutting it, but it's just the video runs out after half an hour. All right, it's good to get a different side and angle to you. As you said, I haven't heard this side to you before. It's been so busy around you normally at weigh-ins, pressers, fight nights, etc. But yeah, it's good to see the different side to Tommy Fury, if you like, which a lot of boxing fans might know you from the early days, but you know the general audience might not. Yeah,
no, for sure. You know, it's you know, general audience, boxing audience, especially what's on the channel. You know, it's good for them to get another side to me as well because they haven't seen this side. They've only seen, you know, the laughable side of Love Island, and like you say, fight week. It's just like, oh, how you feeling? You ready to go? Yep, perfect. Like they don't really know much about me, and I feel like it's good for them to listen to me talking now because, you know, I feel like what I've said, and you know, I've told them, you know, I've been completely honest. You know, that might change a few opinions of just, you know, I'm just trying to do it for a bit of money, trying to do it for a bit of fame. That's not the question.
Tommy, I will have to come on to your brother. I know we always ask about him, but, you know, being probably the biggest star in the sport, we have to talk about him. Some really exciting news the other day that him and Anthony Joshua have agreed a 2-fight deal in principle for 2021. Of course, Joshua's got a bit Pulev and your brother's got to get through Deontay Wilder, which is no easy task because the Bronze Bomber is called that for a reason. He might not be the most gifted fighter in the world. He might have got annihilated in the last fight, but it just takes 1 second with him.
Yeah, for sure. You know, they both, you know, Joshua, I think, in my own personal opinion, of course, he's got the easier touch in Pulev. You know, Pulev's getting on. Pulev's been about for a long time. And I just feel like, you know, he's not stepping up and fighting these big fights, you know. Instead of Pulev, why not give Dillian White a shot? I know you've got mandatories and all that, but it just seems to me Dillian White's been there forever, you know, asking for a title shot. Just give him a title shot then, you know. Pulev, let's be honest, what's Pulev going to come and do? Pulev's going to come that European style, and he's probably just going to take Pulev. You seen what Klitschko done to Pulev? Do you know what I'm saying? And that was years and years and years ago. You know, he's had a lot of miles on the clock since then. But I don't know, boxing is boxing at the end of the day. But with Tyson and Wilder, that's the fight everyone's going to be watching. And, you know, it is hard because Wilder has that power. You know, he might not be able to box on the back foot. He might not be able to box on the front foot, but he can knock a full house down made of bricks, and that's no question. So it's always, you know, you got to be switched on for the full 12 rounds, which he is anyway. But I just feel like he's got his number now. You know, I think both men, well, not both men, Wilder knows in that first fight that he lost. I truly believe Wilder knows that. In the second fight, we've seen what happens. And I just feel like, you know, once you got the beating of someone, you got the beating of someone. And I feel like whatever Wilder does now, it's not going to be no match. And I feel like Tyson's just going to walk through Wilder again, probably even quicker than it was last time. And I'm 99.9% sure Joshua will come through his fight with Pulev. And then, yeah, we're there. You know, the biggest fight, you know, in boxing history. You know, it is going to be. You know, we've never had two fighters like this as well known, as out there. You know, everything like that. It's going to be a crazy fight and a crazy build-up too.
Yeah, if you're right and Fury and Joshua come through their next fights, then that's what we're headed towards. Let me ask you, Tyson come out recently and said that he's a bigger puncher than Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
What do you think about that statement?
I think he's bang on, yeah. I think he's bang on the money. Because what you've got to look at here, Joshua may have knocked out, you know, all these guys, you know, in one punches, but, you know, who's he been knocking out? You know, I'm not trying to discredit Anthony Joshua at all in the slightest, because I think he's a good fighter. You know, you're not undisputed world champion for nothing. The man can fight, of course he can. But when you're talking about Tyson, that's just a different level completely. But what you've got to look at is the guys he's been knocking out, and Tyson's just gone in there and knocked out, you know, the biggest puncher that's ever lived, probably, you know, by going off stats. You know, it is only fair that you call him that. And at the end of the day, you know, Tyson's style is awkward, it's moving, it's on the back foot, so he can't ever get the maximum out of his punches. And when he was going forward to Wilder then, with his feet placed down on the floor, you know, planted properly, you seen the damage he did. You look at the state of Wilder after 4 rounds. You know, Tyson hits hard, and it's stupid for anyone to say that he can't, because he's 6'9" and he's 18.5 stone. Anybody who says he can't punch is stupid.
I mean, yeah, even to the Klitschko fight, where there wasn't much engagement, but, you know, if Tyson wasn't hurting Klitschko, he'd have just walked through Tyson, and he was keeping him off all night. And people say, oh, why didn't Klitschko throw that? He must have had an off night. Well, yeah, if Tyson wasn't hurting him, he would have just bulldozed through him. Well,
that's it. You know, any fighter can tell you this at the end of the day. If I'm in a fight there and this guy's punching me and he ain't hurting me, you think I'd be messing around on the outside doing this, like, you know, trying to get my way in? I'd be steaming straight through him and hitting him with everything, especially, you know, when you got the power Klitschko's got. You know, so obviously Tyson, you know, he was worried about Tyson's power, obviously. And you seen in the 11th and 12th round when Tyson caught him with, you know, a couple of left hooks and an uppercut in the 12th, I think. It was doing a lot of damage. And he's seen by Klitschko's face, he was cut to bits, he was bruised everywhere. A non-puncher can't do them sort of things, you know. So it's just stupid, really. And I think, yeah, Tyson is a bigger puncher than Joshua, because Tyson's, you know, you've seen him. He's a freak of nature. You've seen how big that man is. You know, that's no artificially built man. That's no weight training and God knows whatever. That's a naturally built machine.
Pretend you're in the BT studios now and you're breaking down this Fury-Joshua fight. It's the weigh-in. It's 24 hours to go. Give me a 30-second breakdown of that fight, Tommy.
Of the Wilder?
No, the Fury-Joshua.
The Joshua one. So the bell rings. Joshua comes out to the centre. Tyson boxing the outside and just completely jabs his head clean off. That's what I see. I see triple jabs landing. I see 6 jabs landing, because Joshua's got slow feet and Tyson's got very fast feet. And I see Joshua trying to cut down the ring, but not able to. I see Joshua coming in and getting wrapped up and just twizzled around. You know, I just see a replica of when Tyson fought. Listen, I'm not saying this in any way, but when Tyson fought Christian Hammer, that kind of performance I see happening to Joshua. But obviously, Joshua is 10 times the man of Christian Hammer, obviously. But I see that sort of thing playing out, like, you know, Joshua walking down, trying to get his shots off and he can't, and Tyson just there having fun, you know, signalling to the crowd and whatever. That's just what I see, because Joshua's got that style there. You know, anybody with a jab down there, it's more tricky. You can't really see where it's coming from. You know, he's just got that basic style, you know, 1-2 left up. He's fast, he's powerful, but you can see where the punch is coming from. And especially someone with Tyson's reflexes that are that good, you know, he's just going to slip and slide, take the weight off him, you know, all night long. And I feel like seeing Tyson spar with all different styles he's sparred and all the fights, the different styles he's fought, that's just he's tailor-made for Tyson. That if you're coming at Tyson like that, hands up, coming straight forward, you are tailor-made for him. And I feel like Tyson's going to capitalise on that big time.
Do you believe he stops Joshua?
Yeah, I believe he stops Joshua in about 8 rounds. About 8 rounds. Similar to the Wilder one. I see Joshua getting broken down, and demoralised. And, maybe even getting pulled out by his own corner. You never know, similar to Derek Chisora. But like I say, it is heavyweight boxing, so anything can happen. I'm not taking sides, I'm not being biased. I'm just speaking off the pure facts. I think everybody can agree with me, basing on that last Wilder fight, that he can do it all. He can box on the back foot. He can go forward. He can fight. He can get the opponents out of there. I just think he's got an all-round better game than Joshua.
We know Tyson went the traditional route: English, British, Commonwealth, European, and then multiple world titles. Is that the route you want to take as well, or are you not fussed, Tommy?
At the end of the day, you've got to see, if the right fight's out there. You know what I mean? It's whatever is the right fight at the time. It's not really based on belts or any of that sort of stuff. It's based on the right fights that are out there at the time, and the position that you're in at that time. But of course, yeah, all them belts that you've mentioned just on the way there, they're all prestigious belts to win. And the honourable belts to win. Anybody would love to win them titles, including me. But at the end of the day, we can't speak too soon. We've just got to see what fights are out there and what timing. Timing is boxing, and if it's right timing, then they'll get taken. But for the next two years or so, or a year, or whatever it is, I can forget about British titles, European titles. All I'm interested in is earning my craft, learning my job properly, doing what I do in training in the ring, getting used to it all, and then I can step up. It's a timing game, boxing.
Well, on that journey, when you're developing in the next year or two, channels like us and other ones and fans are going to link you with certain fights, Tommy. We know you're in a very exciting division, in the 175 division. Yep. We've got very good fighters in Anthony Yarde, Joshua Buatsi, Callum Johnson. How much of these guys do you watch, and do you think they are perhaps potential fighters? Way early to say for now, but the likes of Buatsi and Yarde in a couple of years, do you think they're mega fights? Yeah,
of course, mega fights at the end of the day, because these people that you're talking about, they're, in some cases Olympians, world title challengers already. These guys are the best in the world. There's no saying they're not. The high-ranked, the best in the world guys, best in Britain as well. And, when you get to that stage, all you want to do is fight the best. So when I'm at that stage, of course, I just want to fight the best and prove myself. So when that time comes, of course, they'd be awesome fights. But in terms of now, those guys are way down the line, because Yarde's just fought Kovalev for a world title. He's had like 20-odd fights. Buatsi's just won the British title. He's on his way. I think he's a really good talent. He'll be fighting for world titles soon. And it's just me. I've just got to take my time, get the right fights, and do the right thing. Is that causing?
No, we're all right.
Yeah.
We're on a mic, so we're good.
Yeah,
I mean, the weather is a typical northern weather at the moment.
Not good. The weather has been shocking for the past week or so. Bring back that good weather, because when you're in the good weather, you just want to train even harder. You want to train all the time. You know what I mean? You could be sitting there after a session just watching TV, and the weather's nice, and you can go and do a bit of skipping. It just makes you want to do it.
Well, at least you got an excuse not to train today.
Yeah, literally. I think I'll have a day off today, but it's no excuse to on the delivery. That's my downfall.
Of course, you're with Frank Warren and BT Sport. When you were turning over, and since then, I'm sure you've had other offers. Tommy, why Frank and BT? I know your brother's with them, but it's your own career. Why them?
Because ever since when I turned professional, and signed with them, they always believed in me. There wasn't no woman and ahhing about lack of belief in me. They always believed in me, and as soon as I signed that dotted line, they give me the best. They put me on the Warrington and Frampton undercard at the Manchester Arena for my first fight. On a pay-per-view slot. So they've been very kind to me and very fair to me. And at the end of the day, for me, they're the best in the game. Get ready, Hearns. But at the end of the day, Frank has never, done anything bad to me. He's always been bang on. Whatever he said, he's delivered. So why not? I'm a big believer in loyalty. At the end of the day, if someone believes in me, I believe in them, and I trust Frank and BT Sport to guide my career to the right place it needs to be.
Well, listen, Tommy, it's been good catching up with you today. I said at the start, especially hearing a different side to you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me over as well. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go?
just God bless everybody, and don't get too down in lockdown, because tough times don't last, but tough people do. So we'll all get through it together. And everyone just stay safe and stay happy.
Tommy Fury, thank you very much for coming to IFL TV.